Hello, the internet, and welcome back to another episode of Dbacks Dispatch. We are your hosts, Gabriel and Brandon, and we are here to review the Giants series. Honestly, a bit of a disaster class on the Diamondbacks' part, but we'll get down to it and just break everything down that happened in this game, or in these three games set. But before we get to that, I want to welcome everyone in on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to us. Give us a like, review, share, comment, subscribe. This is your first time on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because it really does help out the show. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Discord, on TikTok, and Instagram, we are everywhere at Dbacks Dispatch, and we leave the Discord link in the description. So come join us. It's free. It's a lot of fun there, and we also have written articles on AZ Snake Pit. So yeah, let's just get down to it. This was a very demoralizing series. I think that the team was outplayed and outmanaged. I think, in my opinion, and they just kind of showed their ass a little bit, and fortunately put themselves behind the eight ball again, and just you know, at least I'll get to your thoughts right now, but at least for me, I thought this was going to go a lot worse, especially with the way the game was looking yesterday. I was kind of just ready to throw in the white flag, but they were able to take the game yesterday, and with the Mets losing again today, they're 3 games behind. They're a game and a half behind the Mets and the Reds, and they have a series coming up with the Giants here at
Giants,
home. The Giants and the
Giants
Reds.
and the Reds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, what were your thoughts on this series? How are you feeling after everything is said and done? Do you think this was the death knell? Do you think they are on the verge of, another typical September collapse, or do you still have a little bit of hope that this team might be able to mount a bit of a comeback? I mean, 3 games in 15 games. We've seen this team fall apart in 7 games. That happened last year. They had a 3-game lead. They fell apart in 7. So, what were your thoughts overall?
I think it was a major, major missed opportunity by this team to gain even more ground on the Mets. Like the fact that we gained a game and a half with losing this series to me just is mind boggling. Also, I still don't understand where this Giants offense came from 3 weeks ago. Like most of the season, they were a very subpar offensive team. The only way they were winning games was if they somehow lucked themselves into 3 runs. They have been scoring like crazy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's this whole thing with Drew Gilbert, who goes like freaking crazy with his teammates with a pregame ritual, like Matt Chapman like chokes him. I don't know if that did something. I know you said, could this be a collapse? But we never really had any sort of lead on anything this month. I wouldn't say it's a collapse. I think they're just treading water what they've done all year. They win
Um,
3 or 4 in a row.
the main
We
reason I
get
call
our
it
hopes up.
a collapse was just because August was like what 19-7 or something like that. They did have a winning record in August, so they came all the way back and were at 500, and then they get into September and start struggling again.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a when you think collapse, you're thinking, oh, that basically what the Mets are doing. Like when you think collapse, that's like Mets have lost 6 in a row. And the fact that we're only 3 games back, oh no, 3.5, I think now, which is just it's crazy. Like like everyone wrote this team off like June 1st, like every because we couldn't get anything going. This team cannot get on a win streak, and that's the thing that bothers me the most is when you think they're gonna do it, they have what we've seen like in this series. Like they looked really good at those first 2 games against Boston, and then they had that subpar performance on Sunday, and then they lose games 1 and 2 in this series. So you're like, okay, again, everything that you've done the last 4 days, you kind of just get rid of when you have slumps like this. But again, 3.5. Giants play the Dodgers this weekend. Mets play Texas. So like again, like I've said all year, I'm not giving up until they are officially mathematically eliminated. Now, I think the magic number for the Mets, it's either 12 or 13. So basically, a combination of Dbacks losses or Mets wins of 12 to 13 means their season's done. But the fact is, it's September 11th, and they're still being able to play meaningful baseball.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we have talked about. Like, as soon as the trade deadline happened and everything else happened, it was just this is kind of what we wanted. We wanted to be able to come on here in mid to late September and say, like, if they just win a couple games in a row, they're back into it. We didn't want this to turn into, the Colorado Rockies or the White Sox who were eliminated like mid September or something like that, or mid September, mid August. For both of them, they were just completely done and dead in the water, and for the Diamondbacks to at least be able to mount just enough of a comeback that they are able to stay in this thing. It does say a lot about the team, but it also says a lot about the Mets because the Mets had a 10-game lead, at least
Yeah,
over
they
the
did.
Diamondbacks. And right now they sit at 3 games. I mean, this is they are the Diamondbacks are a good weekend, and the Mets are a bad weekend away from being tied for that last National League wild card. And like you said, the Giants are going to face off against the Dodgers, who are starting to play a lot better. I mean, they did play against the Rockies, so it's not like
Rocky.
you know it wasn't like they're facing off a great team, but their main starting staff is finally getting healthy again. Snell's back, Yamamoto, Roki Saki is making his comeback pretty soon. Glasnow's healthy, and they're just all getting healthy at the right time. I mean, I know their offense has been scuffling, but again, getting that little bit of that confidence during that Rocky series could play dividends in this series coming up. And for the most part, the Dodgers still have something to play for, and so do the Giants. So it's not like what we've seen in years past, where the Dodgers basically wrapped up the division at this point. Because I believe last year there was like a 10-game lead over the Padres at this point in the season, and the Dodgers pretty much wrapped everything up around September 15th or so. So at that point, they honestly weren't really trying too hard going into the last couple of weeks of the season. And in this case, the the Padres are they 2.5 now? They won today. Yeah, two and a
They
half.
won,
They won
so
today,
I think
so
it's a
it's
game and a half.
2.5. So it's 2.5 right now
Okay,
between
two and a half.
Padres and
Yeah.
Dodgers. The Padres are facing off against the Rockies, and it's no easy feat for either team. So it's nice to see this division being a little bit closer to where everyone is trying, and there's no one's giving up the way we saw the Mets and the Braves give up in the last game of the season. But before we get into the probables and everything else concerning the wild card series or wild card standings, let's just get down to game one. This was unfortunate game. I think there was a lot of just I don't know. Like I can't even explain. This was just bad baseball all around for this Diamondbacks team. They had a chance to win. I think quite a few times until the
Sixth inning.
to the sixth inning when Garcia came in and just completely fell apart in the second inning of work, and then Desclafani. I know he had 4 runs count against him, but I mean, he didn't pitch great, but he had 4 runs against them. But I think things could have changed a little bit. But there was that there was an umpire call in this game as well that could have gone the other way, and then maybe the team, maybe the score didn't turn up the way it did. But Chris Matt had his first bad game, I think. This is kind of what I expected from Chris Matt as soon as he got called up. So the fact that he had been as good as he had been, like, I don't want to say that he's a pretender or maybe he was outplaying his stats, but this is kind of what I expect him to be, kind of a 4 inning, 4 runs type of guy, and that's what he did against the Giants. He went 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, and 2 walks and 2 home runs, and he put the Diamondbacks behind pretty early on, and or at least they were tied. But entering the third inning, as soon as they put up those couple of runs, it just became one of those games where you're like, yeah, it's kind of over at this point. Like at least for me, I felt it pretty much over because the Giants bullpen is just killer, and the Diamondbacks just isn't. Like at that point, you're just hoping to get a little bit more out of Chris Matt. Unfortunately, wasn't able to give much for this team, and so the sixth inning came along, and it all started with a Perdomo error, who I believe has 6 or 7 errors in the last 2 weeks alone. I mean, he more than doubled
Yeah.
his entire season error count in the last 2 weeks, and we had been mentioning him breaking out of his slump offensively, but he just has not been shorthanded right there in the shortstop position. So I don't know. I mean, does he need an extra day off? Does he need to DH for a couple games? Like, I know he has that contusion in his hand or his wrist or whatever it
Yeah.
is, that bone bruise. So I mean, he did mention that it hurt when he was batting righty. I think he said. So it might be affecting his throwing arm a lot more than he's letting on, and you just can't lose games like this, especially off of an error. So, what were your thoughts overall on this game? Do you feel like maybe Perdomo needs a day off and needs to DH, needs to maybe just get off his feet entirely, or do you prefer him to DH, put in Blaze there, put in Jordan in third, like, or do you credit this loss more to the pitching?
This game was odd. Like I felt like we were in it for the most part, and then yeah, this sixth inning, like just everything just went to shit as soon as that Perdomo aired. Because then a walk, a single, then a double, then a sac fly, then a homer, and then all of a sudden the game's out of reach. Because at that point we were tied 4-4. So I felt really good. Like Chris Matt did decent. He wasn't like amazing, but he wasn't like what we've seen with certain outings with Erod and Fott and Gallon, where it's over by the third inning. But he just didn't look that great. With Perdomo, I think he needs like a true day off, not a off day that the team has. I just think he needs an off day of when we actually have a game. I just don't see Tori doing it, and I honestly I don't think Perdomo would even let. I think Tori would try, and Perdomo would fight so hard, and then there'd be a big portion of the fan base basically calling out Tori, saying he doesn't know what he's doing by sitting Perdomo. But I'm like, you guys watch him. He looks exhausted. He's literally played all but one game this season. I think he does need an off day. Um, I don't know. Like you said, you can put Blaze there. You can put Lawler because they said they want Lawler playing on the left side of the infield, so that does include shortstop as well. Um, but then like who do you put in the outfield? Because I think left field right now is an absolute mess. With I was gonna bring it up. Jake, yeah, like if you look at his like he's hitting, but he's getting singles. He has no slug whatsoever. Like it's great to see Jake has had a really good like last 15 games, but like I'm sorry, from that outfield spot, we need slug. That left we need some power, and that's just not who Jake is any like at all anymore. So I think Perdomo should not be starting tomorrow, but he's probably going to because we're we're 3.5 back. Like I could definitely see people. Oh, this is why we didn't make the playoffs because Tori sat Perdomo on September 12th. But that's not going to be the reason why we didn't make the playoffs. There's a lot. There's I don't know like 15 to 20 different examples that we can pull from as to why this team didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point about the left side of the outfield. Like, there's just no slug coming from there, no matter who you put in there. I mean, you have Barossa, you have Jake, even Blaze to a certain extent doesn't have a lot of slug in his swing. I mean, he gets a lot of hits, but as of right now, there's really no one who's hitting home runs the way Gurriel was hitting home runs recently, and even Blaze to a certain extent. Like, we've talked about him quite a bit before. I know everyone wants him as like the everyday third baseman over Lawler because for various reasons, even though Lawler has really been coming out of his slump and has been hitting very well this last few games. So But if you break down um, Blaze's numbers, I mean, yeah, sure, the last 15 games, 275, 367, 471, but you look at his last 7 games, 217, 296, 217 slug. So it's a guy
Yeah.
who's not hitting great, but also he's not hitting for a lot of power. So this is what we see from Blaze every time he comes up. He'll have a stretch where he's just impossible to get out. He'll be amazing for 2 to 3 weeks, and then just go on an absolute, just devastating slump where he's just bad for well over a month. And so that's why, I mentioned in our group chat, it's like you can't have it both ways. Either you need your best players out there every single day because you're trying to compete, or at this point you're trying to develop your guys. So if you're trying to develop guys, then put in ADC, put in as catcher or as
Mm,
first base.
I will go look at ADC's numbers
I
lately.
know he hasn't been good, but that's my point. It's just if you're trying to develop, put in ADC at first or a catcher just to see what you have from him. And Jordan Lawler needs to be playing every day. But if you're trying to win, then you do need to put in guys like, even in this case, Lawler. You need Blaze, and you need Vargas playing first base for the rest of the way. And you can do any sort of combination from the DH spot, but you need guys who can hit the ball. And at this point, I mean, put Blaze out in that left field spot. I know he hasn't been, crushing the ball, but he has been more consistent than Jake has, and I think that's just what they need to do. Like, there's no reason why they need to give so many at bats to Jake and to Barossa because, again, we know what those guys are, and at the same time, we can still see what we can get out of Blaze if he is that super utility Chris Taylor type, or if he's the guy who's going to be, kind of floating around for the next few seasons, from AAA in here. Um, but yeah, that was kind of it
One
for game one.
thing,
Yes.
one thing we completely forgot to bring up. Tyler Locklear is most likely done
Oh
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
season with left elbow inflammation. Supposedly, it was on the Jordan Lawler error on Sunday, so people were joking. Oh, great! So let's blame Lawler for Locklear getting hurt. I'm like, are we really missing that much with Locklear out? Like we have spoken at nauseum. Like he's not right now. He is not a MLB quality first baseman. He's just not. So like it sucks for him that he's hurt. Um, but it's not like we're gonna be missing his bat. We started to talk about maybe play Vargas at first. They did call up Tim Tawa there on Monday. Yeah, on Monday. Um, and he played on game three, and I think he had 2 or 3 hits. So yeah, so
Yeah,
it
he
kind of
played on Tuesday. He got 2 hits. He was two for
Tuesday.
three in that game, and I think he played on Wednesday as well. Yeah, Wednesday 2 for 4. So was that 5 for 7? I believe to
Yeah, like I think
to
he
come back.
raised his average from like 200 to like 207 to like that's really impressive. Also, um, there was a play on Wednesday with him and Blaze that I'm like that's one of the most insane plays I've seen from two young players. Like it
Yeah,
was bang bang on from Blaze, and then Tawa made a great just pick at first base.
yeah. I mean, to break down Locklear. I mean, it probably was that play that where he got. I mean, also the runner kind of just. It was just a bad play all around. I think
Yeah.
Locklear probably could have played that one a little bit better, and the runner seemed like he got more into the other side of the lane than he probably should have as well. So it was just kind of a bit of a freak accident, and Locklear is done for the rest of the season. And like you said, same with Pavin. It's not like we're missing out too much. This isn't a devastating injury the way it was for Gurriel or for, we can get to on Wednesday as well, but Cattell, possible issue lingering there, but everything is fine. But Tyler Locklear, I mean, we said that he's gotten every opportunity available to him. I mean, since the trade deadline, he's played in 31 games. He's had 103 at bats. Again, not a small sample size. I mean, it's small, but it's not tiny. It's not a minuscule sample size, like 5, 6 games. Um, like when when fans were ready to crown Pavin MVP after 2 weeks. Like it's not that small of a sample size. But in that time, in 30 games, 103 at bats, and this is consistent at bats. This isn't Jordan Lawler playing every 4 games. This is a guy who's been playing day in and day out, getting all 4 at bats. He was batting 175, 267 on base, 262 slug. This is a
Yeah,
first baseman. If he was slugging out of his shoes, like it'd be fine. Like if he was like a Joey, see
Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo. If he was a Joey Gallo type, batting 175, but he was just knocking the ball out of the park. Then it wouldn't be great, but at least we'd have some slug there. But it was a 262 slugging. I think that's lower than Jose Herrera slugging. Like it's just bad. Like these were guys who were just giving up easy outs. He had 10 walks in 30 games, 43 strikeouts.
Now he had been playing better before he got hurt, but there's a stretch there of like 2 or 3 weeks where he looked like absolutely lost at the plate, had no idea what his approach was, check swing after check swing, like it. They were ugly, disgusting at bats. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
and the only reason he was playing is we had no other option at first base.
yeah, yeah. I think that's kind of the biggest issue is just because Vargas was just coming back and they had Pavin, like he kind of just had to play that position. But I know you said he batted a little bit better. Even then, it's still not great. I mean, if you look at the
I
last
mean,
seven
when you're
games,
down here, there's only one way to
it's only
go.
one. I mean, he got over the Mendoza line in his
Yeah.
last 7 games. Last 7 games, 23 at bats, 5 hits, 1 home run, 3 walks, and 10 strikeouts. He was batting 217, 308 on base, 343 slug. So still a 600 OPS from our first base position. So that's just not going to cut it. And like I said, they kind of just need Vargas to play there. He can play that position. And if Tim Tallis can be coming back and he's coming back hot, like we've mentioned before throughout this whole season, even last season as well, like sometimes all you need to, make some room into the standings and get on a run, it is a good 2-3 week stretch from a guy. The guy just needs to get hot for 2 or 3 weeks, and suddenly you're back at the top. And we've seen this happen with a bunch of guys. Like there's a lot of postseason heroes who were never the guy on the team, who were never the best
Yep.
on the team. There's just some guys just play very good for 2 or 3 weeks, and suddenly they're winning the CS MVP or World Series MVP, even though they were never truly the best player on the team. And Tawa at this point has that opportunity. He's probably going to be playing most likely every day compared to a guy like Vargas, but um, they do need to play again like Jordan Lawler every day, not sub him in after 2 at bats, which is so stupid. Like at this point, I'm always like, are they trying to hold his at bat count down so he qualifies for next
Uh,
season as a rookie?
no, it doesn't matter. He's already surpassed rookie status.
Okay, so why isn't he playing every day? Jesus Christ! But anyways, that was game one, and that was the news that came out that Tyler Locklear is most likely, if not just completely done for the rest of the season. And I mean, there could be a bit of a chance we see him in the fall league, but not likely. So game two, again, just an unfortunate game. This was the Zach Gallen game, and here's the thing: he gave up 5 runs, but he pitched damn near 7 innings, and a part of me doesn't
Three
want
of
to
those
blame him.
runs, like take out that 3 run homer in the first, and he pitched amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I know you can't really do that. You can't pick and choose what stats
I
to
know.
take off of guys and everything, but he did get absolutely screwed on the strike three call to start off the game. And when you're walking the first batter of the game, it does put you completely behind everything at that point. Like the game plan changes. I know you got to execute, but it makes you have to walk a tightrope a lot sooner than later. And in this case, that walk at the beginning of the game led to a 3-run home run by Willie Adames, and he was just a terrorist in this game or in this series as a whole. But after that, he just settled in. He only gave up 2 more runs in 5 and 2/3 innings. So overall, I mean, his stat line again, those if you just look at those 5 earned runs, it doesn't look great. But if you look at everything else besides that, the 6 and 2/3, I still think he gave this team a chance to win. Like I don't know how you can look at his stat line at the end of the day and say he did bad enough that this team wasn't able to come back. I mean, this team had plenty of opportunities to come back in this game. They had 8 hits and 3 walks, and they could only muster up 3 runs. This team did not help out Zach Gallen at all. They were 2 for 9 runs in scoring position. Just absolute disaster from them. But again, Zach Gallen ended 6 2/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. And still, we've talked about him being a lot better in the second half, and that's still the case. Last 7 games, 2.81 ERA in the last 7 games, including this game. He's gone at over, I believe this is 6 innings, more than 6 innings in each game, and he has a 1.01 whip. So that shows you that he's been very good. He has been very efficient, even despite this loss. And again, like this team just didn't get any help from the offense in this game, and I think I put a lot of the, I'll just say blame on the fact that both Cattell and Corbin Carroll went hitless in the series. I believe they were 0 for 15, both of them. It wasn't over 15, but it's around there. 0 for 12, 0 for 15 in the series as a whole. They just could not get anything going, and that cost this team. I mean, they're at the top of that lineup. They're the power, and they're the guys who need to get going because in this game, Cattell 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Perdomo 1 for 2, couple of walks.
Cattell went 3 for 5 in game one.
Oh, what the hell am I looking at? Oh, unless it was the last series, but he's still batting. Okay, yeah, there we go. He has been quite not good, if not straight up awful, in his last 20 games or so. His last 15 games, 222, 333, 352 slugs. So Cattell was in a pretty big slump, and I don't think it's being talked about enough. But at least in this game, yeah, you're right. He did a lot better in that first game than compared to the rest of the rest of the series because he went over 3. So overall, not the best stats. Same with Carroll, just couldn't get anything going. And when the top guys aren't hitting the way they're supposed to, it really makes it hard for this team to get on a roll because Perdomo was on base 3 times this game. Cattell 0 for 5, Carroll 0 for 4, Blaze 2 for 4, Vargas 1 for 4, Tawa 2 for 3, Lawler 1 for 2, and then McCann hitless, Barossa hitless. So again, you need that top of the order. You need Cattell to show up. You need Carroll specifically to show up as well, and they just did not help this cause at all. And so Gallen just kind of took the L. And again, I don't think he pitched as bad as maybe the stat line might indicate, or even as the loss might indicate. But there were some potential questionable decisions here. Torrey pinch hit ADC for Lawler pretty early on. I mean, he only had a couple of at bats, and then Connor Kaiser, who has 2 hits in the last 3 seasons for McCann, and Kaiser, of course, just popped up just a terrible bunt because Kaiser he's a guy who just doesn't play in general. He's not very good. I mean,
your job in that moment, that was the whole reason why you came in a pinch hit was to lay down a bunt, and
we couldn't do that.
Couldn't do it. Like that decision right there. Like, I would rather you keep McCann up there and hopefully he can get into one because he's done. Like, we know McCann has that slug, but like I get what Toy was thinking, and that a lot of his thought process don't end up working out for the most part. He just doesn't look. It's when people make fun of him. Like, I think sometimes Toy tends to overmanage at times. I'm like, sometimes you just need to let these guys play. But yeah, no, Lawler got pinch hit in the 6th inning.
Yeah.
In the 6th inning, like, come on. Like, I can understand if he was still slumping. He had already hit a double. And then he scored on that by being very aggressive, stealing third.
Yeah.
And then tags up on I would say a very shallow fly ball and makes a really good slide to avoid the tag. Like, he's doing everything that he can. I think Toy doesn't have faith in him. Like, I truly think that's what it is why they're not playing him every day is Toy just I don't think he likes having these young guys play. Like, if they had another option at third base, I don't think Blaze would have gotten the actual
Yeah,
runway that he did.
yeah. And, I mean, obviously things don't work out exactly the same every single time, but the reliever came in the ninth inning. Walker, when he came in, he wasn't throwing strikes at all. He just couldn't hit the zone at all. So he walked. He ended up
ADC.
walking Del Castillo. Here's the thing. You know who else was on, at least at that point, on second base? Jake McCarthy and Jordan Lawler. You wouldn't need the bunt if both of them were on base. If Jordan Lawler was on
Yep.
first and Jake McCarthy was on second, you wouldn't need to lay down the bunt because you could just get a double steal. And with this game being tight enough and these guys being fast enough, they probably wouldn't make any single play. It would probably be a really easy double steal because you need to be sure-handed, and both Jake and Lawler are fast enough that they can beat out mostly every throw. I mean, it is Patrick Bailey back there, but at the end of the day, he would need to be 100% sure that the throw that's being made is going to hit the guy on the base. So that completely changes the play as well. Like at that point, you could just let McCann hit, and fortunately, just didn't work that way. I do think at this point, Torrey needs to just let Lawler play the entire game. Like you can't just keep pinch hitting for him every single time a righty comes in. Like this is your number one prospect. This is the guy who's supposed to be the future, whether it's third base or shortstop. This is a guy who needs as many high leverage at bats as possible,
Yeah.
and instead he's being taken out after he hits a really hard double and starting to look good, especially because you have the stats right
Now
here.
the removing him in like the eighth or ninth as a defensive replacement
Yeah,
after what happened on that, I'm okay with. But in the sixth inning, when he's gonna get another at bat, like that, I was like, Tori, what do you like? If ADC had been hitting lately or his chase rate wasn't so high, again, I'd be okay with it. But it's not. Like that decision was definitely one of the like that one I think cost us the game.
yeah.
Like
And
I truly do.
Lawler has been one of the better players on his team. I mean, since getting his first hit, he is 5 for 13. That's a 385 batting average, 615 slug for a 973 OPS. He has been one of the best players on this team since getting that first hit. He has three
Which is
three
what I
doubles,
felt like which is
three
what I
doubles,
felt
three
was going to
RBI,
happen.
and two stolen bases. And I mean, it's not just you. Everyone everyone who doesn't hate him automatically, but I think that's how most people, who weren't judging him right off the bat. That's
He
kind of
got
how
the
everyone.
monkey off his bat. Like once he got that little monkey off his bat of that first hit, I was like, he's gonna see the ball hit the bat. He's gonna get that confidence, and that's what we're seeing. Like I and he's and the a lot of these he's barreling up the baseball, which is
Yeah,
what I wanted to see. A lot of when he was struggling, he couldn't barrel up the baseball, but that's what he's doing now, and I don't understand why he doesn't play every day. What do you have to lose at this point? Like they're truly like I'm sorry, Jorge Barosa is a liability at the plate. He is Jose Herrera, but at least he can play defense. We know Jose Herrera wasn't the best defensive catcher. I get Barosa's a good defender, but like at this point, we need offense. So I'm willing to sacrifice maybe a couple errors there at third base with Lawler if it means he can get into one because I think long term wise, he's a better fit at third base than Blaze because he has that power. It's the one thing Blaze does not have. I think Blaze overall right now is probably a better player. Just because the team's giving him a chance to play every day.
yeah. And I mean, not only is Blaze playing every day, but they're also at two different points in their development. I mean, again, Jordan Lawler is only 23 years old. Blaze is 26. He's not a young guy anymore. He's a guy who, should have been up in the major leagues the last few years. He's 26 years old, and that's 3 years older than Jordan Lawler. So you're talking about guys being better than others and everything like that. And like, yeah, well, one has had way more time not just at the major league level, but in minor leagues, whatever it is. Like this, Blaze is kind of just a seasoned veteran on this team at this point, just because of his age and he's played longer than like half these guys. Um, but yeah, I don't understand this reluctance to give at bats just in general, not just important at bats, but at bats in general to Jordan Lawler. When even against Chapman, he took what 8 pitches, 8 or 9 pitches. He was fouling those pitches off. He was doing a lot more than like everyone else before him was doing. They're all kind of just was the that Bugs Bunny 1 2 3 you're out, 1 2 3 you're out. Like he put up a tough fight against Chapman, and ultimately he lost that battle. But again, it's the role of Chapman. He had sat down like 50 something players at that point. So it wasn't like he was facing off against some middle reliever who was complete garbage. I mean, he was just facing the best of the best right now, and he needs to be playing every day. And this weekend series coming up, I can say he should be playing every day, but the fact is he's probably going to play one game, and even that game is going to be substituted out almost immediately. And again, if you want this team to compete, if you want this team to be a team, or the message you're giving out to this team is that we're here to compete, we are trying to win. You play your best players, and right now, Jordan Lawler is one of your best players. So is Blaze. So is Perdomo. So is Cattell, Gabby, Alec. Even like you need to play your best 9 guys or 10, I guess, because of the DH. So you need to play those guys every single day going forward. This is the reason why you give guys a million rest days throughout the season, because when the last 2 weeks are here and you're this close to that wild card spot, these guys need to play every day. And just absolutely just confusing and just so stupid that Lawler isn't getting the runway that everyone else has gotten. But moving on to the final game, this game that they were able to salvage the series and take this game, and when all is said and done, they are a game and a half behind the Giants. Again, they're a good weekend away from being tied with them, if not surpassing them. And in this game, Erod has just continued his dominance in the second half. He went 6 2/3, 6 1/3. I mean, sorry, just 2 hits, 2 hits for this San Francisco Giants offense, 2 walks and 6 strikeouts. I mean, he put this team on his back, like just completely dominated in this game, and he lowered his season ERA to under 5. So for the first time, he is under 5 in his Diamondbacks career. He has a
I never thought
4.98
I'd see the
ERA.
day. I never thought I'd see the day.
Me neither. Like I was expecting to be like a 5.5 guy for the rest of his
Because I think at
DX
one
year.
point it was like 5.8 or 5.7. Like it was incredibly high with a lot of
Yeah.
innings. I was like, "There's no way he's getting under 5."
Yeah, and it's something we talked about, I think, near the deadline as well. That we talked about his ERA being so high. We're like, yeah, that thing's not coming down from a 5. Like, he would have to go shutouts, 3 or 4 or 5 shutouts in a row, or 5 6 innings every single time. And he's
Well,
done it.
technically one in his last 18 plus.
Yeah.
That's really
So,
impressive.
to break some of these stats down, I mean, no matter how you look at it, last 7 games, 3.63 ERA. That's really good. I'm not just saying that
Oh,
comparatively.
I'll take that.
Like I'm not just saying that, compared to how he is. No, 3.63 ERA is a great ERA. Like that's a really good starter. That's a guy who's earning that paycheck. And that's in his last 7 games, 39 innings. So that means he's averaging close to about 6 innings per start. And he has 27 strikeouts at 1.29 whip. Not the best, but again, when you have a 3.63 ERA, usually your whip will be around 1.2 or even close to 1.3. If you break down his last 15 games, 4.09 ERA. Not great, but pretty damn good still. He's still one of the best third starters in the league. If you have 4.09 ERA, 81 innings. So again, close to about 6 innings of work every single time, 1.52 whip. So the whip is a lot higher in this situation, but again, just because he walks so many guys, basically walks as many as he strikes out. But 36 walks, 70 strikeouts in that time frame. So again, this resurgence that we've seen in the after the All-Star break and the trade deadline, sorry, has been the starting pitching, and one of those main reasons is Eduardo Rodriguez. He has come back and he has shown why he got the paycheck that he did. And again, I never thought I would see the day, but he did spend most of last season injured. He was pretty injured early on in this season as well, so he could just be healthy. Like I don't know what it is, but they figured something out, and he's been pitching really well for the most part, and has been able to lower his ERA. So I am feeling a lot better about him going forward. Honestly, if he's able to maintain that 3.6, 3.7, even a very low 4 ERA for next season, I feel like this team's going to win a lot more games because for most of this season, every time we went out there, any win streak was just snapped. So
Yeah, yeah.
having him be relatively consistent is a really good sign overall. And in this game, the bullpen got into some issues with Woodford. He gave up 2 runs, and then Saul Frank gave up a run as well. But they were all able to hold out for the win in this game. And there was a couple of standouts. I mean, Perdomo got a couple of hits. I mean, at least he's been continuing to walk. That's one of the issues that he had when during his struggles. He wasn't walking either. But again, Cattell was 0 for 3. Carroll 0 for 3. At least he walked a couple of times. Gabby continues to be an absolute menace. And Thomas had kind of a really great game as well. But there were giving too many outs around the bases. They got caught like 2 or 3 times in this game. Just haven't been as sharp. There was a couple times that this game could have easily gone the Giants' way. But what were your thoughts about this game? And I guess now as a series as a whole, um, do you feel confident that they're going to be able to play better here next week?
I don't know. It depends on how the series this weekend goes with the Twins. I think will dictate a lot as to how this team's going to feel when they come home from that final homestand. Um, I'm really impressed by Erod because of what he did against the Brewers. There, barely like couldn't even get through the third because he couldn't get a guy out with 2 strikes. I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be bad. Whatever his issue was, he figured it out with his last 3 starts. Like 18 and 2/3 inning, 18 and a third inning, 1 earned run. Like it's like you said, if he can be that I'll give him 4.3, 4.3 max ERA down to like that 3.6, 3.7. If he can do that consistently, I think that's going to benefit this team a lot because that's going to help them go on streaks. Because that's the biggest struggle with us going on streaks is it would usually stop with a FOD outing on the road, Gallon, Erod. Like that's where it really struggled was our starting pitcher would have just a dud and that streak would be over. And that's why it's been so hard to either get to 500, get over 500, stay above 500. Um, so I'm hoping Erod can kind of take this and carry it into next season. I think that's going to be a real big thing for this team. I know everyone wants him gone. $20 million, you guys. I just don't see that happening. Um, Perdomo hit 18th home run of the season in this game to lead it off. He's at 18. 2 more with 2 weeks. I feel really good because he's been doing about 1 a week. Like some has been like 1 a series. So like I think it'd be absolutely amazing if he gets 2020. I think he's the Silver Slugger winner at shortstop in the National League, personally. The only other person that maybe is Trey Turner. But I think no one else is even close. He's also at 93 RBI. That if he can finish 2020 and 100 runs driven in after playing in the 9 hole for a good 2.5 months of the season, like that's really impressive. So I just think that he needs. I do think he needs a day off, but I just with what's at stake and what's on the line for this team, I just don't see that happening. So I hope he's able to kind of play through the pain there, and just continue to put up good quality at bats. I don't remember which game it was, but he literally started the game with like an 8 or 9 pitch at bat. I think it was Monday. I
Yeah, I
think
think
it
it
was
was
Monday. Yeah,
yeah,
because Tuesday was a lefty, so Marte would have been leading off. So yeah, it was like he's just he could be down 0-2 right away. Next thing you know, it's a 7 pitch at bat
Hmm.
because he just fouls it off. He stays alive. So yeah, season's not over, but it's definitely on life support.
Yeah. Um, I want to welcome everyone who's in here. Justin, Scott. I mean, he's saying we'll get to it in just a sec, but if we don't, he says we don't sweep the Twins, this season's effectively over. And I know you said that you're not going to give up until there's that E right next to the name, but I do feel like that's kind of it right there because well, if they lose three
It
against,
because
you know,
really
they're
can
not able to sweep.
only
Yeah,
we really can only maybe lose 3 games the rest of the
yeah.
year out of the next
Because if
15,
you
and
lose three,
losing 1 or 2 to the Twins, it's gonna make that incredibly difficult. So yeah, like there, there's been a few times this, like just in the last couple of weeks, where I'm like, yeah, we're done, and then they go and they play really well for like 3 days, and then like they suck you back in. But I just if these next 15 games, they have to win like 3/4 of their games, or hope that the Mets continue to slide or the Reds slide. Like that's asking too much, though. Like that's asking for a lot of other teams to also play poorly. Um, but the fact that they could potentially get to 80 wins. If you would have asked me that after the trade deadline, I would have said there's no way based on what I saw. So, and just our remaining schedule, it's not easy. I think that's
yeah,
why a lot of fans are like, yeah, it's pretty much over. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Because we play, what, like
it's the
four
Giants.
play.
It's three against the
Um,
Giants, three against Philadelphia, three against the Dodgers, and then they end with I think three against San
yeah,
Diego.
so that's 4 series against playoff caliber teams. So if you can get through that gauntlet and you still have a shot at the play, like your playoffs have already started, so you're all ready to go.
Yeah. So let's get down to the Twin series. This is a series that they need to sweep. There's
Yeah,
no ifs, ands, or buts. This team needs to sweep the series if they're going to try to stay alive in this wild card race and just in general. I mean, the Twins aren't a good team. They play in the worst division and they have 64 wins just because there's worse teams still in that division. I mean, the White Sox 57 wins. I mean, they're just ahead of the White Sox. Like, this is a really, really bad team. This is a bad division. They've lost. They're 2-8 in their last 10. They've lost two. They have a negative 85 run differential on the season. This is a bad team, and I know we've mentioned this before, but if you want to be able to compete and show that you're going to be what top team in the league. I mean, you have to be able to perform, and the Twins are 24th in the league in average. Like in every offensive stat that you look at for the Twins, they are one of the worst teams in the offensive categories, and even pitching to a certain extent, they're not the best either. So the Diamondbacks are definitely in position to take this 3 game sweep, and they're going to have Brandon Pfaadt going for that first game. He has a 5.18 ERA versus Lopez with a 2.84 ERA. So at least in the first couple of games, it is going to be a little bit difficult. At least for the starters, they don't have a great bullpen either. But again, they don't hit well. Ryan Nelson goes in the second game, 3.48 ERA versus Ryan with a 3.32 ERA. Then it's Chris Mott, 5.22 ERA versus Ober with the 5.08 ERA. So overall, I mean, other than the Brandon Pfaadt start, this is a pretty evenly matched starting pitching staff for these games. And if you're just talking about it offensively, the Diamondbacks are just absolutely clobber this team and should be able to take this 3 game set. But unfortunately, we've said that so many times before throughout the season, and they just have shown time and time and again their inability to sweep teams, their inability to, really get ahead of guys. But one of the main reasons why, I mean, we talked about it earlier as well, but one of the main reasons why this sweep is so important is because of who everyone else is playing. The Giants and the Dodgers are playing 3 games this series, these next few days, and if the Giants lose the series, the D-backs go up ahead of them by half a game. The Reds and Athletics, the same thing, and the Mets are playing the Rangers, and they have two of their better starters going against the Mets. So coming back on Sunday, we could be talking about the Diamondbacks being a game behind the Mets and a half game ahead of everyone else. But what are your thoughts on this upcoming series? What do you want to see? Do you think they're going to be able to sweep? And do you think if they don't sweep, that's kind of a done deal for them?
So what I'm worried about is these first two games. If they, I know Fox road splits are they're just ugly. They are ugly to look at. So we need him to have a good road start, which he hasn't had since right before the All Star break that he had against San Diego. Like that was his last decent road start. Everything else has been just awful. Pablo Lopez is making his second start since coming back from the 60-day IL. So I'm hoping that he's still going to try to figure it out. That's going to benefit us. Game two there, Nelson versus Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan and his two out of his last three starts have actually no, three out of his last four starts have been clunkers. So I'm hoping that he can have another clunker. He gave up 5 earned in his last one, and then two starts before that he gave up 6 and then 5 earned. So let's hope that both of those are clunkers. And then that final one, I think we have a good shot. But again, I'm not gonna say dead in the water if we win 2 or 3. If they win 1 of 3, then yes. I just think that puts us too far back with basically the remainder of our schedule being playoff caliber teams. So sweep is obviously would be huge. 2 or 3, it's okay. I won't say like on like we're over, but it's like 2% of feeling that we're gonna be able to do something. So I just we we need Ketel Marte to be Ketel Marte. That's the one thing that I think we're missing right now, and we always talk about like certain players turn it off come playoff time. Our playoffs start tomorrow, you guys. Our playoffs start tomorrow. Ketel Marte needs to step up and be the superstar that we know that he is.
Yeah, and I think one of the issues that might pop up is the fact that he took a foul ball off of his toe
Yeah,
on.
he has a foot contusion, so I'm curious to see what we find out about that tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean the X-rays were clean. He doesn't, you know, doesn't seem to be broken. I mean, I guess today with the off day and everything, and with the travel, sometimes it just swells
Swelling.
up. So we'll see how he feels. Apparently, they're going to pencil him in um, tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Again, they are wearing cleats. Those cleats are very tight. If Cattell can't get his cleats on properly, then they probably will have to sit him, or they might just DH him. I feel like he probably could DH for the rest of the weekend.
Put put Blaze at second. Put Lawler at third.
Yeah, and then I feel like this team should be able to sweep. And again, like you said, like yeah, sure, it doesn't necessarily spell the end for them, but if they just take the series, then they are at 500. But if they win, they're 2 games over 500.
Yeah, it's a
And
big
that's
difference.
a big difference, especially at this point in the season. Whatever way the math works out to, like if they're 1 game behind the Mets or 2 games behind the Mets, they'll have a shot. But if they stay at 3 or even 4, then it's pretty much it's pretty much a wrap at that point. And we've talked about guys being the catalyst of this team and this offense: Perdomo, Cattell, and Corbin. Those are the 3 guys who drive this offense. And without them performing the way they should be, I know Perdomo is coming out of his funk, but Marte has been in a funk the last 20 games or so. Corbin
Yep.
for the last 4 or 5 games as well. He didn't have the great series last time either. Both they got to snap out of it. I mean, it's now or never. And if both of them are struggling this much, then I mean, look at the bottom half of this lineup. It's not as great as it has been in seasons past and even earlier this season. Just with how many injuries that this team has had, this bottom half of this lineup just isn't going to be performing the way it should be. But Disruptive saying is Marte looks tired or checked out or both. He's probably more tired than anything, I feel. especially this late into the season. I think most of these guys are pretty damn tired. I think all of them are ready for a little bit of a break, especially with the gauntlets that they've been going through. But we're gonna get more news on Cattell tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow morning, at least here because of the time difference. But you know, I personally feel. I mean, I was talking about this with my brothers that as currently constructed, I mean, I know you can shorten guys come playoff time. Lineups get shortened and starting pitching gets shortened. Everything else gets shortened. You can bring guys in and out if needed before the playoffs start. But I feel as currently constructed, this team could be still dangerous in October because of the run that Gallon's on, because of the run that Erod's on, because of how good Ryan Nelson has been this entire season.
Those are your three starters right there.
Those are three starters, and for those first couple of series, the wild card series, and for the DS, that's all you need. You don't need five, six, seven starters. You just need three consistent starters, and then the rest of the guys like Brandon Fott. I mean, he might do pretty damn well out of the bullpen come playoff time. We've seen him go, 3, 4 innings in the playoffs, and he's been fantastic. And Chris Mott, to a certain extent, probably can still slide in there. Gilbert Diaz has been very good since coming back. Um, he's on a 40-man roster come playoff time. They could bring him in to pitch some relief innings. That there's been times. I mean, we saw this happen a couple years ago. This team backed into a playoff start with 84 wins, and maybe it won't be 84, it might be 85, 86 wins. But either way, this team, I don't feel is in as bad a position as a lot of people say it is or think it is. I think this team is still kind of built for the playoffs. Again, short series, they can at least get to the DS. Maybe the CS might be a lot harder because that's 7 games. You got to win 4. And at that point, I think this team would struggle. But as of right now, I feel like they could still make it pretty decently far in the playoffs if they get there. Do you think I'm crazy? Everyone, listening here, like, do you think I'm crazy to say that? And do you think this team is, dead in the water even if they make it to playoffs?
Yeah. For me, it's we've seen so many examples of teams that like September weren't really playing that great until like that last week, and then they get into the playoffs and they just go on a tear. Like we, 2023 is a prime example of that. Like we didn't really play very well that last week. That's why no one gave us a shot against the Brewers, and we saw what happened there. We, I'm literally wearing the shirt right here, the 4 homer T-shirt against the Dodgers. Which if the playoffs started today and if the Dbacks were where the Mets are, they play the Dodgers in the wild card round. That might be something to travel to LA for. I'm just saying. But like it without a sweep this weekend, like all of that is really hard to fathom. Like until you mathematically eliminate, I mean, anything is possible. Like we've seen, like the Mets go on a 6-game losing streak. Like we could see the Reds do that. We could see the Giants do that. Um, but like the fact that it's September 11th and we're 3 games back of a wild card is insane to me. Like that's what's so hard to like. I think a lot of people don't want to believe in this team because of who's running the ship. A lot of the fan base is tired of Torrey, which I get, because he makes the same mistakes that he made in year 1 and year 2 when he was here. I get it. The team likes to play for him, though. The team is like, if they didn't like having him around, we would not have seen this surge in August. We just wouldn't have. They would not have been playing hard. So, you may not like Torrey, but the players like playing for him.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, it's just they need to take this series and not even just take the series, they need to sweep if they're going to have any sort of real shot because they don't own tiebreakers right now. I believe the Mets have a tiebreaker over them, and I believe the Reds
Nope.
they're tied, I think, with the
We
Mets.
correct, but we have a better divisional record, so we own that's
You
the
know how many
next
games it
tiebreaker.
is? Do you know by how many games it is?
Let's
Because we have 3
see.
against
So
Philadelphia, so if it's anywhere near there, this team could lose. a divisional.
No. So Mets are 17-11 in their own division. We're
Oh,
23-20.
ooh,
So I guess it depends right now what it like. But I think as of right now, we would hold that second tiebreaker because we won 3-3
yeah.
against the Mets.
And right now against the Giants, they are 5-5 with 3 left to play. They need to take that series against the Giants coming up.
Reds have the tiebreaker over us in head to head. So
Yeah,
um, yeah, there's still a lot to be on the lookout for over these next 15
yeah.
games.
Yeah, that's one of those things when people say like, "Oh, why is scoreboard watching?" Like, there's a lot to scoreboard watch right now, just because there's 15 games left, and it's a lot of in division play for these teams that are ahead of them. Because the Giants play against the Dodgers, and then they play against the Diamondbacks, so those splits can change easily. So it ain't over till it's over. I mean, baseball is the one real sport where you need to get the last out no matter what. There is no running out the
Yeah.
clock in baseball the way there is in soccer and basketball and everything else. You need a pitch until the last out is made, and I think this is the same way this team should approach the next 15 games. It's just it ain't over until that E appears on next to their name, and it's going to be difficult. But like you said, this is the playoffs. The playoffs are starting now, and this team, if they get it on a good enough roll to end the season, watch out. I mean, that like we've talked about the Giants in the series before. It's like it's not who you play; it's when you play them. And if the Diamondbacks go on a really hot stretch here, they could just be coming into the playoffs a lot hotter than the other teams ahead of them. And who's to say this team can do real damage in October again? The lineups are shortened. The starting pitching is shortened, so you don't need to rely so much on the worst of the worst. But hopefully, Cattell can break out of his slump. He can come back healthy, and hopefully, Carroll can also break out of his slump. Perdomo continues to hit.
I was wrong. So the Mets are 23-20 against the NL East. We're 23-20 in the NL West. So then, yeah, we would have that tiebreaker.
Yeah, and but the problem, I guess, would be that we have 9 against our division coming up. So
Yes. So I mean, we know we have to win we have to sweep the Giants. So that's 3 right there. So then we'd have the tiebreaker over them. Um, then we see what things are looking like. For me, I'm not even looking past like right now. My focus is what they do against the Mets and the Giants. Whatever they do then I'm gonna look for. I'm gonna look all right because I think then we play the Phillies
yes,
at
Phillies 3
home.
games, and then it's 3 against the Dodgers. And I believe they end in San Diego.
Correct. Yes. So we have a 9-game homestand coming up. So if they like playing at home, that 9 games could be very important.
Yeah, and yeah. Hopefully, when we come back on Sunday, we can talk about the Diamondbacks being 1 game behind the Mets instead of 4 or 5. But I think that's going to do it all for us today. Do you have any final closing thoughts on this series as a whole, or the upcoming series, or anything else that you need to talk about?
No, just don't beat yourselves. Like don't play bad base. Don't play bad defense. That's the one thing that drives me nuts is when you know that they should have won, but they just shoot themselves in the foot. Like that for like any sport drives me nuts.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we've seen this whole season. Is just they're winning by 4 or 5 runs, and then there's a couple of errors suddenly, and then suddenly it unravels, and they end up losing this game. And unfortunately, we've seen that too much this season. But just want to thank everybody coming in here. Justin, Scott, Disruptive. Want to thank everybody else. If you're listening to us after the fact, you can still comment on YouTube or send us your thoughts on Twitter. We're always on there as well. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Tears a heat, but we own this town. Brennan gave on the call. in the back, bringing it